Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us here on this lovely Monday afternoon in gloomy Ohio. Hopefully, it's nicer where you're at. Welcome to the Kinetics Clean webinar. This is the second webinar after our initial October 13th launch of the first Kinetics Noise Control PET lineup. And so what we'd like to do today is kind of go over the product line itself. It looks like we got a good mix here. We got some reps, some consultants, some architects and designers. So we want to make sure that we go through this, and at the end, this is a webinar, so I've got Jason Ehrlich with me. He's monitoring the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to run those through. If they're timely, we'll make sure we get them answered in the middle of the presentation, but at the very end, we'll certainly address everybody's questions. So let's move forward here. So again, welcome, the new product launch. This is Kinetics Noise Control first foray into the polyester world of panel products. We're calling this Kleen. Is our brand. So if you don't know what PET stands for or what PET is, PET stands for polyethylene terephthalate. It's not an easy word to say, but very commonly referred to as a polyester panel. It's made from similar materials, especially a lot of recycled materials that are used to manufacture soda bottles, water bottles, a lot of the 2 liters that are out there. So some of the characteristics that make up PET is that it's a very durable material. It's definitely long lasting, which we've seen problematic in some of the landfills and some of the oceans. There's a good reason to be using this as a recycled product. It's very safe. There's no formaldehyde, no VOC content whatsoever. The most you're going to get from a California 01350 test is going to be some moisture generally. And then the product is not only made from recycled goods, but it's also post-consumer recycled as well. So a lot of what we get question-wise from this is, you know, what can PET really do? One of the big things, the big advantages that PET has is that the color is innate to the actual material itself. We're bringing in a holy host of panel colors that are already made, so the color is throughout. Kleen is being introduced with one of the largest color selections in the PET lineup. Offered today out of any of the competitors. We're not only doing some of the standard colors, but as you see in the bottom right here on your screen, we've got some pine wood, mahogany. We can do a lot of print-based coloring as well. So let's start looking at the lineup here. The most simplest form of a PET is just that. It's the panel itself. And so these can be custom cut into a variety of shapes and sizes. Most of our panel options for our large color selection, we're going to have a 3/8 inch thick offering. That's really kind of our main foundation here. We do a lot of the neutral colors in the 1/2 inch and then some limited colors in the 1 inch and the 2 inch. We do have some fast turnaround times. Our current inventory of stock is well over 5,000 panels here in the US, and our products are manufactured in the USA. So when we're talking about polyester or PET, sometimes, you know, getting it to compete along the lines of a fiberglass panel can be a little difficult. As we get thicker into, say, 2 to 4 inch fiberglass offerings, we can certainly have more absorption. With PET, it has some limitations from its fire rating. So the thicker that you go, we're not really going to run into 3 inch and 4 inch PET panels because they will not pass the muster from an E84 fire rating. So we look at the thinner materials as their density is concerned, and we can offer up some mounting options that will help maximize the acoustical value of a 3/8 inch PET panel. So looking at your standard A mount, our NRC is a 0.30, which is very similar to the industry standard. However, the minute we put some airspace behind it, you can see a notable difference in the acoustical value. So panels, we separate that out from products. This is probably the most notable part of the Kleen lineup. We've got several different types of products. The KBar Baffle is really going to be kind of our flagship piece here. It's your standard baffle that comes in a variety of different sizes, as well as we have custom options too. Your 4-foot and your 8-foot lengths, a myriad of different heights there, and your standard 2 3/4 inch width. These were tested with an NRC of a 1.1, which we will reference later for all those consultants out there raising an eyebrow. But one thing to really note on PET material, that even when we build a product this size, you'll notice that the weight, even a large 8-foot size, is very minimal. And that is one of the advantages of PET, is that it is very lightweight. So taking the same KBar, our flagship, what we can add to it is a series of LED lights. This is up lighting or down lighting in a number of different widths, anywhere between basically 2 foot all the way up to 8 foot. We offer this similar heights and the same width as the standard KBar. LED lighting is the norm here. It comes in a variety of different warmths between, I believe, 2,500 and 3,000 K on, now I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on that, but depending on the length of the light will affect the warmth. 85% translucency through the lens, and it runs off a standard 120 volt system. So if you're not familiar with LED lighting, it is quite popular right now, mostly due to the lack of well, excuse me, the increased efficiency from its operation over both fluorescent and translucent lighting. So a few more baffles here. The Cabo Baffle, this is going to be our largest offering with the biggest air cavity. Hence, again, why we get an NRC value that is abnormally high, which again, I will address, I promise you. Again, anything that we do in a standard size, in a 4-foot or 8-foot length, can certainly be customized. Kinetics is definitely known for its solution-based offerings, and we want to make sure that Kleen is no exception. So the K-Arrow Baffle, this is going to be the thinnest of the baffle lineup. That takes your standard 3/8 inch panel and allows us to do some interesting things, as well as straight or wavy profiles, which can be staggered in a setup, as we saw in the previous picture. But most of our standard lengths are going to be the 4 and the 8 foot, as well as the similar heights that the KBar Baffle was offering. The Pergola is a very unique system. This one is a complete unit, generally hung with the gripper, the jointed grippers, and a 4-point cable mount system. They're roughly 4 foot square, but because they have the baffles on the inside, and we can add lighting to this as well, I should note, but because the baffles on the inside, we do get a nice acoustical performance off of this, which can certainly be mounted separately or in a large embankment together. Moving on to clouds, the K Cloud and the Kleen lineup features the same. We can do it in circles or squares, but it offers the same lighting as the KBar. And again, this is a similar LED lighting system to that. You can see that we are generally around 47 inches diameter on the circles, 47 inches square on the square clouds. However, again, these can be customized for larger and different sizes and shapes. So let's take a look at the standard hardware that would be utilized for this system. Baffled and cloud mounting, we're generally going to have a 1/4-20 thread post off the top of a standard baffle. Most of the clouds, however, work with a female connection to the top of that cloud, as well as the K Pergola. These will, 1/4-20 is pretty standard. We're going to have a 3-point connection for the circular clouds and a 4-point connection for the square clouds. But everything is 1/4-20. When we come off of that, what's going to be included is a standard threaded coupling. You have the opportunity to mount this to any type of ceiling with a 1/4-20 threaded rod, The nice part about utilizing that is that it's relatively inexpensive and it will prevent any sway. So especially if the baffle is mounted near an air ventilation system where could be a lot of movement from air, we want to give it that rigidity. Your threaded coupling is certainly going to get you into a stiffer connection on that threaded rod. But more commonly, aircraft cable is generally used for most of the baffle systems. What we call a jointed gripper. This has an internal plunger that's pressed in and it automatically grabs that cable. They're each rated to, I believe, a bare minimum of 50 pounds a piece. So they certainly are strong enough to carry just about any size baffle that can be built. When we get to the 3 and 4 point connections on the K-Cloud, we're going to involve what's called a Sputnik connection. Sputnik has a 4 point or 3 point offering, depending on if it's circular or square. And inside of that is the same 1/16 plunger for the cable. So you can drop that in there. It slides very easily for adjustment purposes. And then the cable itself can be trimmed by the outlet at the bottom. So let's look at some of the products that aren't baffles and clouds. We're going to be offering initially up here some of the tiles that we call K-block. These are going to come in a standard nominal 2x4 or 2x2. They do feature a chamfered edge on each of those. We're featuring an NRC of 0.30 A mount. However, if you do add furring strips, which is a mounting method that we are promoting with this, it will certainly add the airspace back behind it to achieve that 0.55, 0.65 NRC. K-wall is another unique product. This is going to be used typically as a divider, both mobile and stationary. It can be hung in a variety of different ways, which we'll talk about here in a second. But while they are available in custom sizes, the standard is roughly 4x8. And they are available in the widths up to 1 inch. We do have several different cutout patterns available for this. And the product itself is something that can be customized to feature as either a door, a mobile divider that would work off of a glider, or again, we can mount that again with the 1/4-20 threaded rod or the standard wire as a stationary piece. Here's another look at that barn door and the glider. Hedge is a more mobile single piece, single standing divider. This is great for restaurants, airports, anywhere, even office spaces where you want to incorporate a division between spaces. It is capable of the same cutouts, as you've seen that we've actually, I'll jump back here just to show, we've got some customized cutouts for people's logos, as well as cutouts along that back wall featuring what the panels can do. But the K-Hedge can be done with casters, without casters, general height up to almost 8 feet tall. And we did test this for sound transmission, which it achieved an STC of 25, which we thought was pretty impressive for this product. That, of course, is without any cutouts. As you add those, you certainly lose a little bit of acoustical value. So looking at the website, which launched on the 13th as well, we have the full Kleen lineup in there right now. The technical library is available for each. So we've got data sheets, installation instructions, and the like available there. Here's another look at the complete product lineup from the same page. So the performance, I said I would talk about this in the beginning of that when we mentioned NRC. One of the things that we want to highlight with PET is the added value for performance, not only as you can go with a thicker panel, like we offer up to a 2-inch, but even when we're down around that 3/8 inch thick product where we have a lot of color offerings available, should we add some airspace behind that, we definitely see an improvement on that performance for acoustics. So our website's going going to be set up to kind of show that in a nice, easy, readable format. One thing that I did want to talk about here was the NRC values on some of those baffles. Those are certainly there. I'm just going to kind of sidetrack here. Actually, excuse me. We're going to talk about that here in the next slide. Product acoustics itself, we're kind of showing it in this simple format. Break those 5 sections out along the sound spectrum, and it gives you an idea of the absorptive performance. This will eventually be a part of the full Kinetics room acoustics lineup, but for this Kleen launch, we have this initial offering. Hopefully that's a nice, easy to read for you. And because I jumped the gun here, I'm going to, again, talk about those product acoustics. On each of our data sheets, you are going to find that we do offer that NRC, mostly because we feel we get asked for it far too much. However, in our opinion, the proper way to understand the performance of a baffle system, or especially something hanging in the air where we can't test it in an A mount or even sometimes a J mount situation, Sabins are the proper way to see that performance difference. So all Kleen products, as well as all Kinetics baffles, are getting the full Sabins treatment. We want to make sure that we are as transparent as can be about this performance. We do think we have some wonderfully performing units. However, NRC is not generally the best way to tell apples to apples comparisons between us and maybe the competition, or just us between 2 different products, as I think we've shown here. So both numbers are available to you. We would suggest that you compare Sabins when you have the ability. So thank you for joining us. Jason, I know I didn't let you get a word in edgewise, but hopefully you've got some questions there in the chat for us.
No, they're being actually quite easy on us today, but bring them on. We can answer some questions for you.
It's Monday and they don't have their coffee yet or something. I usually I'm ready for a clobbering, guys. Come on.
You did mention that acoustics presentation. We're going to talk. It'll be in 2 weeks from today. We'll talk a little bit about how to report these things. We'll talk about different ways to look at Sabins, even talk a little bit about NRC itself. So give us a couple weeks, and we'll have that available to you. All right, so the questions are coming in. The first question, which we actually addressed a few minutes ago, is what about the cleanability in a K-12 setting?
Yeah, so all PET products have a bleach cleanability. So no matter if it is if it's colored or if it's the white or black, the coloring that's used, the bicomponent that generally carries a lot of that coloring that's used, can withstand a decent bleach cleanable treating. I believe we have a mixture of about every 1 part bleach to 4 parts water is, I believe, the true mixture on that. But that is certainly a good question, and one that we're going to be approaching here as we look into antimicrobial fabrics and that offering here in the future.
And we literally just sent the cleanability instructions to our webmaster about an hour ago, so they'll be posted very soon.
We did. How to clean clean.
Next question, how about a cost per square foot for the panels?
Well, that's always going to be based on a quote scenario. As you know, we work solely from the scales of economy. So this isn't a format where I'd be in a position to quote you on anything at this point. But we do have a wonderful set of reps nationwide that are certainly able to help you both with budgetary and with specific custom panel quoting.
And another question about just impact resistance in general.
So the beauty of PET is that it does have a decent bounce back. The one thing that I can state, and this is something that we have incorporated into the new website, is some impactability ratings. We were blessed to have a gentleman work here who had tried out for the Atlanta Braves. So we've thrown some baseballs at some panels in the past to see their performance. We haven't had the chance to do that with Kleen just yet, but the one thing I can say is the density of the 3/8 inch panels, especially if you're mounting it directly to the wall, it'll take about as solid of an impact as you can imagine. It's right up there with some of our high impact products. As the product gets thicker, it gets less dense, and it can be more susceptible to that. So if I went out to a 2-inch thick panel, it can certainly take a blunt force impact. Obviously, if you went at it with something sharp, just like with the fabric wrap fiberglass panel, some damage can certainly be done there. But the 3/8, the 1/2 inch, they're very, very strong from an impact.
So that's all the questions we have. I'll remind everybody that you will get a follow-up email with an opportunity to download or view a video file of this presentation, should you like to watch it again or share it with others.
Yeah, and thank you for joining us both. We're very pleased with the reaction we've had thus far over the last couple weeks from the initial launch of Kleen. We hope you take a look at it. And if there are any questions, Jason and I are always available to answer those for you.